thank you very much for this presentation, for reaching out to us. First of all, before I begin, I want to say that I have my colleague here. I think he can just say hi. Professor Godfrey Eju from Uganda.
Hi, all of you. Thanks.
And Pampas Tandika from Tanzania. Say hi, Pampas.
Hi, Avery. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. Those are my two colleagues, the co-authors for this paper, and the paper is about human flourishing, conceptualization, pathways, and impediments. And we are going to bring out children's perspectives from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So just a snapshot of our background, we have realized that individualized perspectives continues to unfairly universalize ideals of global flourishing. And in this paper, we are going to raise questions as to whether this lens of individualization is really appropriate for Africa, especially the children. And of course, our children are known to thrive in communal or collective cultures. So in this paper, we just hope to bring out what constitutes flourishing from the perspective of a child, and of course, a child who is thriving in the collective culture. And we also hope to bring out what could be called enablers or pathways, and also some of the impediments, the things that sit on the path towards flourishing from the child's perspective. And of course, in so doing, we came out with some commonalities and of course, divergent views on what has been found in literature, especially from the minority world. So in terms of context, we went to find out this kind of conversation within multi-generational families, and of course, up to 4 generations. And more particularly, we went on to conservative cultures, and these were Ateso, Marachi of Kenya, Kuma of Uganda, and the Skuma of Tanzania. These are relatively very conservative cultures. The approach that was used for this study was largely qualitative, in particular phenomenological design, which made use of in-depth interviews with children and of course, key informant interviews with nominated community experts and also household members within the multi-generation families. We tried to make sure that there is quality in terms of what we did by data triangulation, translation, and of course, back-to-back translation, and of course, heavily interpretation of tools. And therefore, later on, we did kind of thematic analysis. What was found out from our results was that for the perspective of a child is about life going on well. Flourishing is about life going on well, or what they just said, good life. So the other perspective that we found out that was also common amongst the children from Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya is that human flourishing is multidimensional. It constitutes material, physical, psychological, social, and cultural attributes that were meant to show that somebody is flourishing. Again, we realize that there is also the individual and also communal definition of human flourishing or a child's flourishing. And that means there were personal attributes that were so important at personal level to a child, characteristics like dependability, humility, determination, trustworthiness were so personal. Then the communal attributes were supportive to family, successful integration, social responsibility, and these were more known to bring out that collectiveness within the community area. And then there's the physical strength. What came out from the African culture is that we always view work from conventional terms. Work is viewed as child abuse, but in African context, manual work, a child engaging in home chores was known to be a very good strength, a physical strength that is cherished in the African culture. Also, cultural intelligence, or a child who is culturally wise, identifies with their tradition, the values, the beliefs, and the norms of the society, and they try to patronize this as a child known to be culturally intelligent. That is a child that is flourishing. The other component is social cultural empowerment, which is about, again, cultural sensitivity and patronage that I've just talked about. Social responsibility is also very key to a child, caring for people around them, caring for their families. Children have also their own responsibility. Care for the siblings, especially if they are older. They must be able to care for their young siblings. There's also the practical wisdom. For example, children are supposed to understand the issues around their environment, environmental mastery, spatial intelligence. They need to know about the spaces where they are, especially with ideas that they were herding animals, they were going out in small errands, they were supposed to be sent out, so they needed some kind of spatial intelligence. The last one is social connectedness. This is very important for a child to feel socially connected. The idea of belonging to a clan, a member of being a kinsman, a member of a clan, and actually identifying with that clan in terms of names, in terms of knowing their relatives and who not and their relatives. This was guarding against cultural heritage and issues to do with marriage and so on, and courtship. The last one is also coming out as an academic competence, which is also coming conventionally with the schooling in Africa, where children feel that they should be able to understand certain concepts within the school curriculum. Another result that came out in terms of pathways and enablers is that what allows a child to flourish is the ability of a child to possess, to be in possession of materials, for example, food, and also basic needs, shelter, food, security, toys for them to play, because play, even in the African culture, is too indigenous. The traditional games are also there with us. So these children must be able to possess things that can allow them to enjoy leisure. There are also non-material culture, which is a set of traditions, values, and norms that a child must be able to find themselves very comfortable with. The other enabler is parental and family guidance. So the family is there to guide, and that is why every African context, a child must be always aligned to the family. And in terms of foster care and adoption, it's very easy to integrate a child into a family in case they are orphaned. There is also the pathway or the enabler whereby the peers, the age, gendered interactions and relationships, where the peers connect with one another and they conduct gender roles or age-appropriate activities. And this makes them develop in many dimensions. The idea of religiosity also is an enabler, where there's the spiritual nourishment, the idea of the children connecting to the God. And of course, in African culture, the idea of God is coming out strongly as one way of spiritual nourishment, right from early childhood and middle childhood. The idea of kinship and family ties is also very important. And we have talked about children identifying with their cultural heritage and understanding their lineage is very important. And this is one that makes them thrive, because each and everybody is looking towards enhancing development within the family ties. Participation, social culture, participation in cultural events and activity is one enabler. When they participate in these activities, there is learning, there is development in many, many dimensions. Formal education is also another pathway that is coming up with the conventional dimensions that are coming. The last is about impediments. Disease is one thing that is sitting on the path towards flourishing children. Ill health, of course, poverty and lack of basic needs is also a very good hindrance to child flourishing. Climate change and issues that are coming with related to climate change, like famine and droughts, are also some of the hindrances to flourishing. Superstitions and witchcrafts that is embedded in the cultures in Africa is also something that children fear, and it is a threat to flourishing. Death of parents, wars, conflicts, violence and chaos within the societies we live in, communities, within the families, for example, divorce, separation, all these are causing tensions and also not allowing children to thrive. Corporal punishment that is mostly in school, and of course it happens also in homes, and there's too much pressure of national exam, was also identified as one impediment to children's flourishing. Technology, globalization, and internationalization is also something that came out, especially from nominated experts of the community, as one thing that is threatening flourishing agenda in children in Africa. So we have learned key lessons. One key lesson that we've learned is that the Ubuntu ideals of a person is a person through another person is very critical for flourishment among children in Africa. We have seen about peers, we have seen about community, families together, and that social connectedness is coming out as a powerful agenda in terms of flourishing. And then the flourishing is facilitated in development context. We have talked about the home and the people around the home, the family, the school, and the community as important people and important development contexts that really facilitate flourishing. And the other attributes that come out powerfully is social relations, which remains a salient component of human flourishing in the Africa. Based on these lessons learned, interventions that advance flourishment in early and middle childhood would then be able to target social relations, which we found out as standing out as a very good infrastructure that is existing in rural communities. The 3 sites we visited. When we have social relations, we have social connected within the society, then all our children are able to thrive because we will be speaking to one another, we will be doing things, and the social responsibility is going to be high among children and even among parents. And we, Africa, we think thriving within the Ubuntu philosophy is the way to go to allow our children to thrive. So thank you very much. I want to stop here.